All right, now let's talk about trading basics. And again, I know this is going to be a review for a lot of you, but please do not skip ahead because all of this is important to understand for when using Emerald. So trading is the activity of buying and selling shares, currencies, or anything else on the financial markets. So if you buy something and it goes up in value, then you turn a profit. If you sell and it goes down in value, you turn a profit. If it goes the opposite way of what you predicted, then you lose. Now, there are different kinds of traders. The traders that we're going to be focusing on is the retail trader, which is the day trader. Someone that works for himself or herself, not someone that works for an investment firm or a hedge fund or somewhere in Wall Street. This is a retail trader, kind of like an entrepreneur that uses his or her own money to trade with. And a lot of the really good retail traders, like Nick, for example, has made 6- and 7-figure income in trading. So it's a very lucrative job if you learn how to trade yourself. Now, before any trader places a trade, they do technical analysis in order to forecast which direction the price is going to move. Now, why do over 90% of traders fail when they first start learning? Well, take a look at where they get their education from. And if you dig deep enough, you'll find that majority of the education out there on how to trade is released by brokerages. Now, why is that important? Well, how do brokerages make their money? They make their money when you lose. So they're not going to release information, they're not going to release education on how to make you profitable, because then they would not make any money. So that's very important. So they teach you the most basic patterns that you might have heard of, like bull flags, pennants, wedges, and they teach that to everyone. And every single trader takes those trades and they win some of the trades, but overall, they are not profitable. So that's why it's so important to understand what we teach and how Nick and I trade, the market maker's method, the trading strategy that I learned from Nick, is because when you really dig deep into it and you understand that the markets are controlled by a handful of large financial institutions like banks and governments, they're called the market makers. Now, the really interesting part is majority of the market makers are trading with algorithms, right? So they're controlled by computers. And the interesting part is that the computers, the algorithms, they leave behind patterns that we can recognize and trade align with the market maker as opposed to against the market makers like a majority of the brokerages teach the people. Right? So if you take a look at this picture on the right, this is the market maker's method strategy in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it, and it's a lot more complex, and that's why we have training on it and mentorship on it for you to learn how to trade yourself if that's the direction that you want to go. But basically, the pattern is they form a W at the bottom, they go to level 1, they go to level 2, and then they form an M at the top, and then they reverse. This happens over and over and over again. And when you're able to recognize the W at the bottom when it's forming, and you buy right when it forms, you can make a pretty substantial profit because you know it's going to go up 2 levels before it starts reversing. And same thing with the M at the top. If you sell at the top when you see the M forming, you have a pretty substantial profit going down before it reverses the opposite way. So really interesting stuff, and if that's something that you wish to learn, that's why we have the training platform on how we teach you everything that you need to know in order to learn how to trade yourself the market maker's method.